So this is the fourth video for February 1st, going on to February 2nd in about 25 minutes or so. Be February 2nd, 2022. And I got my Acai Goji berry concoction here that turned out quite good looking. Just gonna give it a try. Looks good. I added extra soy milk powder accidentally tonight. Just a little bit extra. Came out bag. It's fine. It's nice. Actually, it cleared the airway a bit. So I let it sit there for about 35 minutes, maybe 40 minutes. It's nice. It's very good, actually. I think that the longer it sat for I know that in the real world things take longer to ferment. If it was like it takes sometimes decades for, let's say, wineries to ferment things, in their natural way, the old-fashioned way. Some people have wine cellars and they let their grapes ferment in there, and in this case, this is a bit of like a very unusual type of weird. It's not fermentation. I don't think it's just that I think the carrageenan is interacting in a biochemical and special way, specifically with, let's say, the Goji acai berry combination I have here, with probably the edamame soy milk powder, amino acids, all those amino acids, the way it only, since it sat for about 40 minutes before I took the first sip, I noticed that there's more of a function going on in there. It's like than what I noticed yesterday. It's almost like a three-dimensional type of not I it's not in a visual three-dimensional way, but in a how do I put it? Let's say in when one does 3D modeling, there's the z-axis that differentiates it from 3D to only 2D, where 2D only has two axes, which is the y and the x-axis. The x-axis goes left and right horizontally, and the y-axis is usually vertical, up and down. And I think in England they call it the z-axis is the depth. And so this is a bit of a three-dimensional concoction, where the way I would describe the carrageenan being usually two-dimensional, or actually this could be four-dimensional, because the way I already knew that carrageenan provides so that it becomes a bit thicker. Usually it's used as an ingredient to thicken a beverage. Usually it's a non-dairy beverage that it's used in. And usually it's sold in stores in their already carton made way, ready to be consumed product. With the carrageenan used to be the ingredient, now they use gel and gum, and I can't buy those products anymore because of that, because my body doesn't work as well as with the carrageenan. And the carrageenan, not only does it thicken the drink, but its nutritional value, the fact of it being a derived from lichen or a sea. Okay, here it's like closely related to Irish moss or something like that, or with somewhere having to do with some similar to a seaweed or something like that. Whereas I think lichen contains vitamin D3 in it. I don't know if carrageenan contains a vitamin D. I would have to look into that, but that's something I would probably check up on later on or something. Oh yeah, the other thing, the nutritional value that's specific to carrageenan, and I think I was mentioning how about the iodized salt earlier today in a video when I was making my lunch. I think it was. I forget what it had to do with salt being included in something. I forget what it was. Iodized table salt. I try not to consume as much as possible. I try not to. Whereas I use Himalayan pink salt now, or in the past when I had switched over initially to making homemade meals, I was using sea salt from when I was first learning how to be a vegan from my vegan recipe books that I had purchased almost 2 decades ago now. It's like 18 years ago. So I've been a vegan for 18 years. And when I switched over from the iodized table salt, that is usually, if you go to like a fast food restaurant and you get the French fries there, and if let's say they're made in vegetable oil and no animal fats or anything like that, or animal grease is protein is used in its cooking um, process. If they use vegetable oil, the fries are usually vegan. Sometimes you have to check somehow through the FAQs, or you may want to call the company. I don't know. Or you may hear through another vegan that they're vegan. You'd be able to determine that type of thing based off of. But so when I've gotten fries at the fast food restaurant, that usually they put um what was it? It's not nucleic. My memory is not that great. Nucleic has to do with DNA. Nucleic acid. Um, it has to do with NaCl. It's not sodium chloride. I don't think it is. But NaCl is what is the chemistry or technical chemistry. What is it? NaCl. Sodium chloride, I think. Na is sodium and chloride is NaCl. Cl is sodium chloride. Chloride, I guess. Yeah, it's the chloride. Okay, NaCl is for table salt. And that's usually synthetically manufactured and then iodide. Iodide is added to it, or it's iodized. Is I think the label on the cylindrical container for some brands of table salt is the family name for when it's known as table salt. Other to differentiate it from, let's say, the naturally occurring salt that comes from the ocean or the sea is sea salt. And I think the way that they pasteurize that is through a heat process, but that may remove the natural iodide that it would normally have in it. And whereas when I had done the switch to making homemade meals with the sea salt, my lab work came back better years ago. Okay. And it was after, for several years, it was like that. There's a, so that's why I use Himalayan pink salt and everything. So that has 84 minerals, and possibly counting micro minerals or something in there. Now, back to the carrageenan. Carrageenan has a chemical structure within there somewhere that similarly resembles